Welcome back. About 10 days ago, we looked at a MD simulation of psilocin bound to the serotonin 2A receptor. This time I want to look at the LSD binding pose of the binding pose in serotonin 2A receptor. If you think about it or kind of imagine, it actually follows a very similar pose. LSD is just a bigger molecule than psilocin. But the positions that are the same are the indole hydrogen bond to serine 242. Psilocin also shows that position. The indole scaffold is very similar. It also does have that pi-pi with phenylalanine 340. And back here, it's got the same salt bridge with aspartic acid 155 right up here. The major difference is that LSD, if you read the crystal structure paper, the diethylamide moiety up here, okay, does get held inside the receptor by leucine 220. Well, it's leucine 229 in the crystal structure paper, but I think there's an argument for leucine 228. The leucine forms hydrophobic interactions with the diethylamide moiety, holding it down inside the receptor. The leucine 228, 229, I say 228, 229 because in MD simulations you do see both those amino acids interact with it. Just see where it is. See if we can find it. I know it's on this lid right here. It's on one of these. It's on one of these skinny lids. It's 228, 229, 230, 220. There's 229 right there. There's 228, 229, 228. In MD, they both do interact with the diethylamide moiety, wedging it down inside the receptor. It's hard to look at that orientation with a MD file, but we can kind of see it. Right, we kind of made those amino acids a little bit bigger. But if we play the simulation for LSD, let's try and get a nice view of it. Pretty good. Let's take a look. You see it maintain the the salt bridge the whole time. You see it maintain the hydrogen bond with serine 242. And you see it maintain the dual pi-pi with this residue phenylalanine over here in front. There was also a crystal structure for the brominated version of this compound, which actually I first heard about. Oh man, that has to be going back at least 10 years. I first heard David Nichols talking about this brominated LSD molecule that I believe is actually used for cluster headaches, if I remember correctly. But I first heard David Nichols talking about this compound, and there's a crystal structure with the compound. So let's just take a look at what we're talking about here. Just get a zoom in on it. Okay, here it is. Just get a nice clean view. Let's pull it back to frame 1. probably about as good as I'm gonna get the frame. But here's what we're talking about. Position right here, there's normally a hydrogen coming off, but in this case there's a bromine coming off. And if you kind of think about it, well, bromine is a halogen, and it's a much larger atom, right? So fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine is the second biggest of the halogens, and it seems to form this. Thinking that's and it forms this halogen bond with threonine 160. Let's just see if that stays consistent in the simulation. Let's fix the scaling on here. This is playback scaling is not so great. We'll do 10 steps also. Pretty much the same binding pose, not really much difference. Same hydrogen bond with serine 242 on the bottom. The salt bridge with aspartic acid 155. Only major difference is sometimes you'll see that halogen bond with threonine 160. And, bromine is, as we said, a significantly larger atom than hydrogen. So you do have size effects in that position too. This is probably a pretty rare molecule to come by. I've never taken it. I don't know anybody that's taken it. Because it's used for cluster headaches, I don't actually know that it even has psychoactive effects. I'm curious if any of you have had the rare opportunity to have tried this molecule. It's definitely pretty hard to come by. The only person that would probably have made it is probably David Nichols. I'd imagine he probably made it for the raw crystal structure paper that came out with this in 2025. He would have probably been the only person to make this molecule.